Okay. All right. So this is going to be just a quick transition. I'm going to make this 3 nights in a row um, after I'm done working to reestablish my carbs. So I'm going to do half a pound to a pound of noodles with 1 tomato, 1 zucchini, um, 1 big onion, one like 5 cloves of garlic, and make it extra garlicky. We'll do 1 to 2 stalks of celery, and then I'll do a chicken breast. And then some salt, some pepper, and some brown sugar. Yep. Okay, so the way this is going to work, I'm going to chop about 1/3 to a half. Chop the onion into thirds or halves, and then 1/3 or 1/2 of the onion will be diced up, petite diced, so thinly diced. And then half the tomato, do the same. Actually, I'll do the tomato into thirds, and then 1/3 will dice. Celery, half of the total celery I'll dice, half of it I'll chop into. Um, actually, I'll just keep it as is. I'll keep the celery stalk as is. Um, let's see. Yeah, that should do. So what I'll do is in the very beginning, I'll throw one of the chicken breasts into the toaster oven and get it at least thawed out a little bit. Maybe cook it most of the way through, if not all the way through. Try to do most of the way through and just kind of let the sauce cook itself. And then what I'll do is I'll dice it, dice the chicken. Actually, I'll probably just, instead of dicing it, that way I can kind of keep it somewhat juicy. Instead of dicing it, I'll just keep it whole, maybe with a couple slices in it, just to get some more surface area. Um, and then I'll throw that into a pan with the diced onion and the diced garlic and the diced celery, stuff that I did. Actually, before that, after I take the chicken breast out of the oven, I'm going to put the big chunks of tomato, celery, garlic, and so on in the toaster oven with olive oil, salt, pepper, and I will let that roast in there for maybe 20 or 30 minutes at about maybe 300 degrees. And then I'll go and start prepping the sauce. So I'll throw the chicken in the stove with the diced vegetables, except the tomato. Get those kind of rolling. Once those have sauteed a little bit, then I will throw in a can of tomato sauce and maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and just kind of get those coated on the chicken and the vegetables especially. And then I will add, I think, a little salt and pepper to the sauce just to get that kind of rolling. Stir it up, let it cook for a little bit. And then by that time, the roasted vegetables should all be done. The garlic, the tomato, and all that. So then I'll throw in the diced tomato and all of the roasted vegetables. I'll see if I can somehow crush. I'll see if I can I could probably just crush it in the pan or a pan or just whatever pot that I have with all the sauce being made. Throw all that in, and then I'll add like a bay leaf and let it sit. Let it simmer for a couple of hours. Oh, I have that little mini pot thing. I wonder how much I can fit in it. I'll figure that out. But if I can use that mini pot thing that I can just plug in, or even my crock pot, or even just go buy a small crock pot that's like 2 or 4 quart, I should be able to let it simmer. So I'll get that set up and going before I do my afternoon shift. Maybe even before I go to before I take my potential nap in the early afternoon. Oh yeah, that'll be sweet. And then I'll have dinner. And I'll do that for 3 nights in a row. That's the plan. And then for breakfast and lunch, my plan is vegetarian. So I'll just do the bags of frozen steamable stuff for now. If I can stick to it for the 3 days, then I'll see if I can extend it. The frozen vegetables get frozen early on in the process of harvesting and all that. So I found that there's degradation in nutrients with fresh vegetables because they're not really fresh. So, and I'll use that on the noodles, and that'll be a good source of protein, a good source of carbs, a good source of flavor, and just all the stuff that's going to come with the onion, the garlic, and all that stuff. And then my plan will be to do a little research into each of those food groups and see if I can get the best out of that or something. So that is my plan for that. And then for dessert, if I decide to do dessert, maybe I can finally do the apple thing that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to do something with like apples, brown sugar, cinnamon, maybe some clove, just to get that in there. Maybe some garlic, just to get that in there. Maybe even some ginger too, and then make like a sort of pie crust, or not a pie crust, but like a sweet dough. Oh no, I could do I can use the unleavened bread recipe that I found. It's just flour and water, and a little salt, and then you crush the dough flat, and then you just throw it right in the oven or on the stove, and that makes a nice little unleavened bread like tortilla. And what I could do to that is I can add maybe a little bit of brown sugar to it, to the tortilla itself, to give it a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of cinnamon as well. And then I can make like an apple-y sort of turnover almost. And then that'll be my dessert. So I think that's a good plan. And I'll go on to the next thing now.